morning and welcome back to the Adventures of Mac Anthea. Today's video is going to be an off-grid timeout project video. Off-grid timeout projects are projects we do to equipment and vehicles which improve our enjoyment of our timeouts. So what I'm going to do now is I'll spin you around and I'll briefly tell you what we've got on the agenda today. So here we have my mountain bike, who I lovingly refer to as Old Dutch. Old Dutch is an old Dutch mountain bike, good quality mountain bike with numerous modifications. I won't go through all the modifications today. You can see them in numerous other videos I've made, but I'll give you the basic of them. What we've got here is we've got the Shimano 10-speed gear set. It's a Dior series. We've got the Barfang 750 watt mid-drive motor, and the wheels. Another major upgrade is we've got a 36 spoke wheels fitted on this, heavy duty wheels with reinforced brake rims, and obviously we've got the thicker tyres. Now the modification we're going to do today is we're going to replace the front forks. This is a modification I hope not to do. I thought the thicker tyres would hopefully absorb enough shock, so we weren't going to have suspension forks on. So unfortunately, as time's gone on, we've been doing more and more demanding trails, and I'm finding the vibration and the creaking coming from the front end more and more annoying. Most of the time in my videos I manage to edit it out so you guys don't have to put up with it, but it still doesn't do me any favours when I'm riding along and I'm having to listen to it. So I've sourced some new forks. Sourcing new forks wasn't an easy job. It's an old bike. Most of the aftermarket suspension now has a stem of 1 1/8 inch width and often aren't threaded. I needed a 1 inch stem and I needed it to be threaded. So I started my search and it wasn't an easy search. Eventually I did find a set, and what I should do now is I should show you what I came up with. Okay, so these are the forks I ended up getting. These are old new stock. Got a nice set of forks. Ended up paying about £38 for them in the end. So obviously I've got the shipping over to Spain and the dreaded import charges now as well. A major concern for me with the forks is that most of them are the same as this. They're a straight leg. And as you can see from my forks over here, mine are quite bent. They've got quite a crank on them. So what I was worried about is if the forks come down straight, then the wheel's going to be too close to here, between here. So when I was searching, I needed to find a solution to this. Now if I take you back over to the forks, I bought these ones, and I think you can see it from here. That shaft isn't in straight in line with the fork legs. So really it's going to be sort of like that. So that should hopefully help us and get the wheel far enough away from the frame. Also, if you notice here that the yokes here, the legs are slightly forward as well on that. So I'm just going to quickly offer it up to the bicycle. So if I sort of line it up like that, you can see as best I can, they're not actually too bad. They're going to match more or less the original forks where they come out, and also what's going to happen is it's going to be slightly longer as well, slightly higher on the front end. Okay, so I'm going to make a start disassembling. I think I'm going to start obviously undo this brake here. I'm going to try where this cranks here on the adjustment, try and loosen this off and see if I can tip the handlebars forwards, and hopefully that will give us enough slack for me to lift the actual stem out. And I won't have to start disconnecting all the wires here and all the cables. Hopefully I'll be able to just lay the handlebars out of the way while I remove the old fork. So I'm going to make a start on that, and I'll bring you back in a minute to see what progress I'll get. Okay, so that came out fairly easy as well. Lump of wood there, just hold it up while I work on the forks. I'll take you over and just show you the forks. There you go, there's the original forks on the wheel. I took them out as one piece, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit the wheel onto the new forks and put that in as one piece as well. I think that'll be easier. First I'm going to have a good clean up of the bearings. I know I should really replace the bearings, but they're working, they're fine, and I don't want to go on a hunt to try and find bearings that fit. I had enough trouble with the forks. So I'm going to clean those bearings up, re-grease them, and then slot the new piece in. Okay, so what I've done is I've gently taken off the bottom part of the bearing. I brushed it up, got some WD-40 in it, and carefully prised it off this fork. I don't know if you can see here, this is slightly fatter, this part of the stem. Now I'm going to try and get it onto the stem of the new fork, I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but this bit's thinner and the bottom bit thickens out a bit, widens. So hopefully it's going to be the same size and this bearing will slide straight on. Okay, so that's that shim on there. I had to heat it up twice, 2 attempts with a blowtorch to actually get that on there because I didn't want to be bashing it too much and damaging the faces of the bearing. But that's now on, so I'm going to clean up the bearings, re-grease them all and sot it back together. Okay, so there it is, it's in there. Bit touch and go for a minute there, and I tried to put the wheel on because I thought the tyre wasn't going to clear, but it does just about sort of 4 or 5 millimetres, but it does actually clear, so we're all right there. Now the next job, I've got to cut that stem down, and that's something I can't afford to get wrong. So I'm going to take my time off, put all the nuts and bolts onto it, what needs to go on and everything. Check and double check, and then we'll make a cut. Okay, so I've cut the stem. How I did it was I put this nut down, screwed it down onto there, as far down as I could. Put the spacer washer in on top of it. Then what I did is I screwed this back up the shaft, the depth of this nut. And then what I did then is I just cut straight along the top with the hacksaw. Didn't use a disc cut in the end, hacksaw was fine. Hope that makes sense. Okay, now I'm going to carry on, grease this up and get it back together. Okay, so that's that bit done. That nut went on fine. I've tensioned up the bearings so that the steering's tight enough so it doesn't flop around, but not so tight that it's stiff or lumpy. So that's done. I did actually file the shaft down, which I didn't show on film. I put some tape in round to shield the bearings to make sure that the filings didn't go down into the bearings. And I lightly filed all the burrs off the end of the shaft before I put the nuts on. So now I'm going to move on to putting the handlebar shaft back in. I'm going to give that a bit of a grease and clean up as well, just in case it's that doing all the creaking. And then we'll see where we're at from there. Okay, that's it. More or less back together for now. Looks half decent. I rather stupidly didn't measure the length here, and there's actual markings on here for the angle as well. Stupidly I didn't do that. I'm going to have a quick look and see if I've got an old photo of it, because it was perfectly set up for how I like it. I'm going to have to redo that again now, but it's more or less where it wants to be. What I'm going to do is I've got the front brakes to refit. They've got some nice old fittings on there, good quality fittings, which I'm going to polish up before I put back on, and then it's going to be time for the test ride. Okay, so we're flying along here. Got a bit of a annoying squeak coming from the front, which I think is actually the brakes. Okay, so it seems to be absorbing the bumps really well. Makes all the difference. I'm not really using them, for anything really serious. We're not bouncing down the side of mountains, bouncing off boulders, or certainly not intentionally. It's going to be gravel tracks, occasional small sort of rocky tracks, and that's about it. And they seem to be performing quite well at that. Like I say, they're nothing fancy. They've got no lockout on them. There's no adjustable of stiffness or anything. But they are certainly taking the bumps out the road. And also I've got rid of all that annoying rattling that I had before. So it's going to make the rides a lot more enjoyable. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, brilliant. Feel it straight away, completely different. Not that jarring back to the handlebars. A few bumps yet, we absorbed that bump pothole straight there. Okay, really happy. So, turn around, go back home, go edit a video.